Take a look.
It is Friday, April 25th. We made it to a Friday. Time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. Joel is running from the grind, everybody. He took off all of last week except for like one day. You know, he showed up a couple of times on the show. This week, he's off every day. Wait, he's here on Wednesday, allegedly. I don't remember him showing up on Wednesday, but apparently he was. And now he's off on a Friday. Thank you to SP3 for filling in multiple days last week and this week as Joel continues to run from the grind. SP3, how you doing?
I am doing well. I went to sleep. I only got like 4 hours of sleep before after doing the TNA post show, filling in for Joel over there with
Running from the grind on TNA.
With Cresta. That was a lot of fun. Cresta is one of my favorite people to do podcasts with because we never take anything seriously, and it's just a whole bunch of jokes, especially with TNA last night, which we'll touch on during this show. We're not like us, and the Busted Open is not like us, so that's why we're here to talk some professional wrestling. We got a crazy week to wrap up where the power struggle within WWE is hilarious and must be talked about every day of the week because Rock is insane and Triple H is self-indulgent. So there are two people that we've had to talk about a lot this week because they have made their power struggle quite public. So we'll be talking about that. Like I said, we'll be talking about the aforementioned TNA Impact, which had one of their funniest.
Will we?
Yes, it had one of their funniest segments of the year. Willow the Wisp dancing to Kendrick Lamar. I did not know that would be on my bucket list in 2025, so we have to talk about that. We will be talking about some. I've even watched Ring of Honor. I'm all caught up on the Honorable Ring. I did all my catching up. My good friend Ashley Vox was on Ring of Honor yesterday against Red Velvet, so got to talk about that. I got to talk about them building some matches for future dates. So. Even though it's not for a pay-per-view because they were supposed to have a pay-per-view next week, but that's not happening. But that's besides the point. We got to talk about TNA Rebellion, which is coming up.
To talk about any.
We got to talk about playoff Palooza from AEW Collision. So we got some stuff to talk about today, Jeremy. How the hell are you?
We don't have to talk about any of this. This sounds terrible to talk about. Ring of Honor.
Hey, I did watch some of the Knicks game too, so we can talk about that.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was.
Not quite as good as the Thunder game. 0-0 series still. That's what it is.
I swear you Thunder fans are quite hilarious. Top guy JJ was over on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment watching the NFL draft, and he was like, "Yeah, the Grizzlies. This is the Grizzlies' only chance. If they're gonna win a game, it's gonna be this game." I'm like, "Well, y'all stop. They're getting swept. You don't lose by 50. You don't lose by 50 in game one and expect me to think that they're gonna win any game this series. It just doesn't happen."
In fairness, they were up 29, and then Ja Morant got injured, and that shifted the entire game. I do think the Grizzlies win that game if Ja doesn't get hurt. It took a Ja Morant injury for they weren't going to blow a 29-point lead with Ja. They were shooting hot the entire first half. Ja was playing great, like exceptional in the first half, and then he got hurt, and then they don't have anybody else who can create. And Desmond Bain ain't carrying anything. Jaren Jackson Jr. ain't carrying anything. So they had nobody else. They win that game if Ja doesn't get hurt. I fully believe that.
But what happened?
Ja got hurt. Yeah.
So I was right. They lost. They're losers. They lost
because Ja got hurt. Like I don't know if he'll be back for game 4. I don't think they have much of a shot if he's not there for game 4. And then we'll see what happens after that. But it's a 0-0 series.
I don't think they have much of a chance at all. With Ja, without Ja, I think they're losing. It's a sweep.
Well, if Job plays, he's probably going to be very banged up, so that doesn't bode well for them. Even if he does play, but we'll see. We'll see what Saturday brings. But it's a 0-0 series, SP3. That's the mentality. That's been the mentality all year. The Thunder finished the regular season 0-0.
You guys are ridiculous. You guys are ridiculous. I much prefer my fans to my anyone who's a fan of anything. You should brag when you win. You should be depressed if you lose. You shouldn't be so.
I'm always depressed.
I know you're always depressed. You guys gotta stop being so depressing. Jesus,
this isn't depressing. This series. This is the mindset. This is the mindset the team takes. You're getting mad at me. I don't feel like you're actually getting mad at me, but for the sake of this conversation, you're getting mad at me for taking the mindset of the team. Is that wrong to take the mindset of the team? This is how the team feels.
It's so depressing. Yeah, I don't like
it's
it.
not
I don't
depressing.
Like it. I don't like it's so depressing, pessimistic.
It's not pessimistic either. It's not. It's the mentality of nothing's been accomplished. It's a 0-0 series. You play the same way you're up 3-0 that you would if you think you're down 0-3. That's been the Thunder mindset all year. All I'm doing is taking the mindset of the team. I'm not being depressed when it comes to the Thunder. I know the position we're in. I'm simply following Mark Daniel, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, J-Dub, and Chet. And this is the way they feel. They think it's 0-0 series. So that's the way I'm feeling. 0-0 series. You want me to be depressed? I could be depressed.
No.
We can shift to hockey because I'm depressed about hockey. Imagine this, SP3. By the way, guys, if you're here, leave a thumbs up on the video. You know, let's subliminal messaging there. Fuck. Okay, there we go. You want me to be depressed, SP3. Draws, I appreciate you saying you hope that the Stars are winning this series. Stars in 6. That was my prediction from the start. I feel very good about this. Imagine this, SP3. I know you're not like the biggest hockey follower or anything, but imagine this. Imagine you're a Lakers fan. I'll use the Lakers as an example. I'll use Lakers and Timberwolves as the example, okay? I know that's a 1-1 series right now, and I know this is, but let me set the stage for you so you understand the pain that I'm going through with hockey and put it in basketball terms for you, okay? Imagine the Lakers are down in the series 2-1, okay? Not only are they down in the series 2-1, they have led through the first 3 games 99% of the first 3 games. The Timberwolves have led for 1 minute total in the first 3 games. And yet the Timberwolves are up in the series 2-1. The Timberwolves won 2 of those games on buzzer beater shots. They trailed the entire game outside of 1 minute. They won both of those games, though, on buzzer beater shots. And so you're down 2-1. How would you feel?
I'd be heartbroken if we lost them. We kept losing on buzzer beating shots. I mean, we kind of did that against the Nuggets last year, where we kept beating them through like 3 quarters, would have leads and then blow it in the final minutes. So I've kind of been there.
This is how the Avs are down 2-1. They have led 99% of this series. The Stars have led a grand total of 1 minute through 3 games. And yet 2 overtime goals is why they're down 2-1. So I'm about 1 game from just jumping out the window and just, seeing what happens at this point. I'm that meme, that guy who's like, You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's how I feel.
Oh, I love that meme. That meme is excellent. It is excellent.
At least the series is almost over. 2 more games of misery, and then who knows? Yeah, we traded our entire future to make a cup run, and we're gonna lose in the first round. Great going. Wrestling.
I mean,
Whatever.
yeah. You know, at least wrestling can give you some type of happiness, right?
Wrestling
Right?
doesn't give me any happiness, SP3.
Why
It
not?
doesn't.
Why not?
Because it's a job. Now you've got me in a super just like depressed and angry mood. It's a job. I don't find any happiness in this.
I find happiness in wrestling, even though it's my job.
I'm glad you can.
I appreciate you gotta find some type of happiness. I don't know. You know, I know you find happiness. You found happiness in Suzuki versus Butterbean. Whenever you're feeling down, just remember the feeling that Suzuki and Butterbean made you feel.
No.
Why not?
Because that's fleeting. It's very fleeting.
Must have not been that great.
It's just very fleeting.
You know, when I'm feeling down, I just remember the feeling that I had when I was in North Carolina, sitting next to you in the building, and Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita came out. And that's the moments that I hang on to. Those are not fleeting moments. Those are memories in my memories museum. It'd be like, remember Revolution? Remember how you felt when Sting got the win for in his final matchup? I remember those type of things.
That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apologies.
Remember when I couldn't get into a bar because I didn't have an ID? See, look at that. Look at that.
Pallavi says praying for Jeremy. Smile or something, man. Brother got too real for me. I'm fine. I told everyone I was gonna be miserable for the next 2 months when it came to the playoffs. Here I am, miserable. Because sports are stupid. And hockey's the dumbest sport in the world.
You still got the Thunder. You still got the Thunder to count on.
Yeah, 0-0 series.
Yeah, 0-0 series. Yeah. So you know what? I'm just gonna play along because yeah, you got me feeling for you.
What are we talking about today?
I have no clue. I was not prepared for today.
Neither was I. I thought Joel was going to be here and he would just carry things and I'd just crack a bunch of jokes and
Joel, you know what's Joel's thing to do on a Friday? Is talk about all the stuff we already talked about on Thursday.
Yeah.
That's usually when I'm watching on Friday, I'm like, we talked about this yesterday. Imagine how Jeremy feels. He can talk about the same thing twice.
I thought Joel could, bury AEW or something. And I could just make some jokes about AEW and just kind of, it's been a long 2 weeks, SP3. You know this. It's been a very long 2 weeks. I didn't want to have to do anything on a Friday. And here I am waking up and Joel's like, oh, I can't do the show, running from the grind. Sorry, guys. I'm like, oh, now I've got to set up the show. That's why we got a generic thumbnail today because Joel couldn't even do that. Make a thumbnail or anything.
He's got a fever. Come on.
I had the flu last week, SP3.
I hope Joel is doing okay. Hope he's doing fine. Hope that he's doing well.
No. I don't.
I gotta start redoing like my schedule. I can't do 8-hour shifts for Wrestle Talk if he's gonna need me to come in and do the show. But I feel for Joe. He's gonna be fine. Hopefully he gets some rest and he can be back to burying AEW on Monday.
I don't feel for him at all. I want him to show up for once. I got enough people who just don't show up and who leave all the work to me.
Well, look at the bright side of everything. Look at the bright side of all of this. You've got to do like 8 shows with me in the last like 2 weeks.
I appreciate doing shows with you. I like doing shows with you.
I appreciate doing shows with you too. I remember the days when I would be like, man, when you gonna let me on the distraction? Like I'm there. I always wanted to do shows with you, and now I get to do it all the time. This is nice. See how life changes. You manifest stuff. I remember the days when I was like, man, I want to be on Fightful's YouTube channel one day. And now look at me. I'm here all the time. It's like a second home to me.
You're here more than anybody else is.
Now I'm here all the time. They have overbooked me. I am Fightful overbooked, damn it. I said, like, we're gonna have to do like the Batman meme with the bat signal in the air, except it's like a Fightful signal and it has a 3 on it. That's my signal. Whenever anybody needs a day off, if they run in fever, they can't make it, they're at a wrestling show, they're busy with their family, you just put up the meme of the Fightful with the 3 on it. That's my bat signal, and I'll be there. I'll be there. Alex Pulowski needs someone for sour grabs at 5 a.m. in the morning in the UK. I'm the guy they call on. Kate needs somebody for I don't know, NXT or SmackDown. I'm the guy they call on. Cresta needs someone for TNA Impact or AEW Collision. I'm the guy they call on. Joel needs somebody to come in for In the Weeds. I'm the guy they call on. See, that's my Batman voice.
We appreciate you, SP3. We appreciate you.
I know you do. That's the main reason I do it. I'll do it for. I'm not getting paid extra for anything here. I do it because I love you guys, and it's always fun to do shows with Jeremy because Jeremy, like I said yesterday with Cresta, I love people who don't take wrestling seriously. Those are the best people to do. Those are the best people to do wrestling podcasts with. People who don't take wrestling seriously, because believe it or not, I don't.
Wrestling is dumb. Stupid as can be. The Rock. So, we published a report on Fightful Select regarding The Rock's comments and the fallout from what he had to say on Pat McAfee's show. And his Instagram comments where he said it's all work. My favorite part of this report is regarding the comment to Dave LaGreca of Busted Open's rant. One talent said, "What does that mean? Is he working every time he stops by and talks to us backstage too? Was that McAfee interview a work? Is he just always working? Is that what it is?" Yeah, The Rock's just backstage, and when he says, "Hey, good job, brother," he's just working. He doesn't actually mean that. Everything is a work, SP3. You can't take what this man says seriously. Was he working in this McAfee interview? Did he tell Triple H he was going to show up or not show up? Did he say, I'm not going to be there? Magic Johnson? I'm not going to be there. All right, folks. Or was he working? Did Triple H think he was working? It's
very similar. I would say that's a great analogy. Like, you stumbled upon a great analogy. Like, the whole relationship between The Rock and Triple H is very much Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson.
Oh, I posted that GIF after WrestleMania happened. So I've been on that analogy.
Yeah. That's very, very accurate. Like when you just said it, I was like, yeah, those are very similar situations. I said The Rock not showing up to WrestleMania was like Kobe Bryant against the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 in 2006 when he decides when the greatest ball hog in NBA history decides to not only take one shot in the second half because he wants to make a point to Phil Jackson. That's The Rock, the biggest egomaniac in wrestling history. He decides he wants to step back from the spotlight. He's making a statement to Triple H like, "You need me. You need me."
So I did wonder of one thing. You know, people are rightfully criticizing Triple H's booking with all of this. And I don't disagree. They could have done something better. They could have done something different, especially if you knew that The Rock he said he's not going to be there. Here's where I will give Triple H a little bit of leeway with things. It's very possible Triple H was booking scared because at any moment, Dwayne could have come in flinging his Johnson and been like, "What are you doing? No, we ain't doing that. We're going to do something else." And if I'm Triple H, based on these last 2 years, I'm thinking that's a possibility. That he says, "I'm not going to be there. This story doesn't need me. Let me take a step back from everything. And let's put the spotlight on Cody and Cena." And then a week later, he could have easily shot the text message to Nick Khan. "Let Paul know I'm going to be there. Let him know that ticket sales are down, that his booking sucks, and I'm going to be there." And that has to be a thought in the back of Triple H's mind, right? Of, this guy says he's not going to be here, but at a moment's notice, he might be here.
Well, as someone who's known to be, not biased against Triple H at all, not me.
Yes.
I will take that leeway right back and be like, Triple H brought this on himself. You want to know why? I was reminded by another good friend of mine that I love doing podcasts with, Jimmy Macaram, yesterday on AE Ramble. He brought up that this all stems not from the whole booking of last year where Rock comes in on January 1st. He sets in motion a whole big matchup for Roman Reigns, and Triple H still is adamant about following through on his year-long booking of putting Cody Rhodes back in that spot, that he decides to put him in, make him the winner of the Royal Rumble. Cody decides to point at Roman Reigns. They do everything that basically sets up Rock for failure when he's gonna come in and take the spot from Cody. And then we have everything that happened with the Las Vegas with the WrestleMania kickoff show and how they changed course there. It's the promo afterwards. I completely forgot. I don't know if y'all remember the promo that Triple H did the day following the WrestleMania kickoff show on SmackDown, which had nothing to do with nothing.
Oh yeah.
It was just a follow-up to the backstage exchange that they had. And Triple H decides to go out on national television and whip his Johnson out on live TV like, "Ha ha, I got my way. Cody's gonna get the spot at WrestleMania, Rock. You can't use your creative control here. Ah ha, I got my way. I bullied you when you were younger with Shawn Michaels, and now I got my way. Cody's gonna be in the main event of WrestleMania. Now you got to be a bad guy," basically flaunting the fact that he got his way over The Rock. You bought this on yourself. You did not have to do that. Like when Jimmy reminded me of that, and I remember my feeling last year, I was like, what was the point of that? What was the point? The point that had nothing to do with nothing. It was not Cody and Rock. It was never followed up on. It was literally the first indication of this power struggle that really was coming on before our eyes. Like, if you just see the stuff that's on TV, and you don't read the dirt sheets, you don't read Fightful Select, you don't read the Wrestling Observer newsletter, you would have no idea what's going on. But that right there, yes, thank you, Senior Nerd, him dropping The Rock's catchphrases, him basically being like, look at me, I'm in charge now. Like, yo, you brought this on yourself. You don't get no leeway from me. You don't get no credit from me. You can say, oh, I was fucking scared because we're at the will of The Rock and all this other stuff. Fine and dandy. I know that the people backstage, the stars, are going to be in your favor because you have done a good job of putting out a better product than what Vince McMahon was doing. But we got to stop living and dying on that. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since this man has been in creative control. And we have never, with Vince McMahon, he was the end all be all. There was never really any power struggles going on. With Triple H, he had to realize last year that he could be in a legitimate power struggle. But no, he cannot get out of his own way. He is still a self-indulgent, egotistical prick at heart. And he decided that he wanted to flaunt the fact that he got his way. And now you saw the ramifications of that with The Rock throwing a spanner into the works with this year's WrestleMania, and Triple H could never recover. You brought it on yourself, though.
Did he bring it upon himself?
Yes, he did not have to do that. Why did he do that? You got your way. You won. Why do you need to flaunt it? Why do you need to do the parade? I'm the Triple H. We won. We won. Me and Cody going to the main event of WrestleMania. I get my way. Screw you in Roman's match. I get my way.
Because even though he doesn't want the spotlight, SP3, he needed to tell everyone of what was going on.
He's such an egotistical prick. I hate it. Don't tell me you're a good guy. Don't tell me you're a good guy. Just be open about it. Just be honest about it.
So now I'm looking at something else completely different. Now I'm looking at the ending of WrestleMania 40 completely different. And when they bring out Triple H and Bruce Pritchard, and now that's not a celebration of we won the title. That's a celebration of this happened because we stood up to The Rock and we defeated The Rock out there. That wasn't Cody finishing his story.
Exactly.
That was WWE Creative finishing their story and beating The Rock.
Yes. Yo, like you understand, like yo, when Jimmy mentioned that promo, I had basically did the Men in Black's pen snap and just erased it from my memory. But then when I remembered that, it recontextualizes the last year totally different to me
now. Thinking about that promo now, I rewatched it too because I saw it making its way around. So thinking about that promo and when he does it, like when you're watching it in real time, the explanation is, they do that WrestleMania kickoff and The Rock tells Triple H, fix it or we will. And it all seems like it's a work. Everything's a work, brother. And then Triple H comes out there and he announces Cody and Roman as the main event. And that is the shot of in work here. That is the shot of, Cody stepped aside and Roman picked The Rock and The Rock picked Roman. And so that was going to be the main event. But then Cody cut back in line and decided to do what he wanted to do. And so Triple H was basically saying, The Rock thinks he runs things. The Rock thinks that he could just cut the line and do the match with Roman. I call the shots around here. In storyline, that made some sense. Now in reality, as we look back on it, it didn't really make sense then because that whole thing was convoluted and was a complete mess. Absolutely no reason for it to go down like that. But now looking back, it is very funny of Triple H doing this on-screen power struggle with The Rock. And The Rock doing this on-screen power struggle as well, because he does the fix it deal. It's not leading to anything. We're not going to get a Triple H and Rock match, despite a photo from 10 years ago that people thought was a backstage segment that was never aired on television. We were never going to get a match between those two. It was Triple H just showing, hey guys, remember who calls it, remember who actually runs things around here. Remember who has the real authority despite this general manager and that general manager and The Rock being on the board. Remember who really calls the shots around here. It was a fascinating promo to go back and to listening to. Josh from True Hill Heat says my work here is done. Shout out, Josh.
I just heard my phone go off, so I'm sure that Josh has probably clipped that Triple H celebrations.
I gotta clip it. That's an amazing. That was really good. What? We're never going to get this resolved, right? Like, how does this end outside of one of them just finally deciding, all right, I'm done with this? Rock's on the board. He's going to be part of this for a while. Triple H ain't going anywhere. Like, he's not going to just step aside and be like, all right, Bruce Pritchard is now running creative. Let him do everything. This can't end a wrestling match. Triple H can't wrestle. Like, there's no way this actually gets resolved unless one person does eventually somehow push their way out or push the other person out of things, or they've just finally have an agreement of, okay, we're not gonna do anything. Like, let's just come to an understanding and let's do what's best for business. Because right now this ain't working. You coming back whenever you want ain't working. Like, what's the end game here, do you think?
I really have no clue, because I really feel that this is only a power struggle because The Rock has other things to do. Because The Rock has all these other ties, the Papatui, the movies, the Terramana, all these different businesses, $7 Productions, all this other stuff. If Rock ever wanted to focus on WWE, I don't think this would be a power struggle. I think that he has more stroke, more political power than Triple H. Triple H, on occasion, especially a year and a half ago, he was booking like he needed to confirm his spot. And that's why they did the whole big celebration, which was part, hey, this is now the Triple H era. And it was also the creative team. And Cody, not only Cody finished his story, but the creative team finished his story, like we realized today. Like, I agree with what the chat is talking about. Like, if Rock really wanted to show his power, he would put Brian Gewirtz in the creative team and be like, I'm injecting it with a lethal dose of poison. Like he's Vince McMahon with the NWO. That's his way of getting Brian Gewirtz into the spot that Triple H currently has. That would be his best way, his best kind of point of stroke. Because I don't think The Rock is ever going to be a head of creative. He has too many things that he has to do. He can't focus on WWE, which is a week-to-week product, 2 shows a week on weekly television, plus the premium live events every month. Plus you have to long-term book it. You have to long-term plan the intricate storylines you have to do from top to bottom. It's too much time that he would have to invest, that he's never going to take that role. But I think if he finds like a proxy, like a Brian Gewirtz, then we could see him kind of use his political pull to push him into a certain position if he wanted to. I think that this ends when I think TKO decides to step in and be like, hey guys, Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel sits them both down and be like, hey guys, we can't have this going on. This has become too public. We need to find some mutual ground. Dwayne wants to do this. Triple H, I know you just want to run the day-to-day and the creative side of WWE. Let him do that. Let Dwayne get what he wants. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets what they want here. Let's stop doing. This is like from some freaking like Killmonger stuff, some childhood drama that's being like like put out there in front of everything. Like, this is a vendetta that The Rock has had against Triple H since he got into WWE. Like, he I don't think he's ever forgotten the fact that Triple H and Shawn Michaels bullied him. And I think that this all stems from that, and it's still continuing 25 years later.
I definitely think The Rock still has the resentment of, yeah, you guys tried to hold me down when I was first coming up, and I now I'm the biggest star in Hollywood. Like, now I got more power in grand world scheme of things here than you. And he wants to take it out as best he can. I don't know if he obviously messing with WWE and the main roster and going there is one thing. You know, he showed up to NXT once. I don't know how much he wants to screw around with Shawn because Ava is there. Ava is the general manager, and maybe he doesn't want to ruin anything there, because I do think, for all intents and purposes, Shawn seems like he's changed in a way of, he's not like, Shawn actually seems like he has the talent's best interest in mind with these things. And I don't think Rock wants to really mess with that. And if Shawn decides he doesn't have the talent's best interest in mind, decides to do some petty stuff. Shawn seems way less petty nowadays than Triple H does. And obviously it's NXT. Like, you're only doing so much in NXT anyway. And I don't think The Rock's actually watching that product. I mean, he doesn't even watch the WWE product, clearly, when he comes back and he just tries to, Cody Rhodes, who's this guy?
I mean, neither can Nick Khan. Neither does Nick Khan. So, like, he needs the president.
The next move of getting Brian Gewirtz into like a creative position would be fascinating if it happened. I don't know if Gewirtz wants to do it because seems fine just chilling with The Rock at $7 and making whatever movies they're making. But there's got to be someone on that $7 team that would be like, yeah, I'll be a WWE writer. You want to feed all your stuff through me? Sure. Like, you know what? Rock, I'll sell my soul to you, brother. You want to get me a job on the WWE writing team? You want to tell me all your ideas and I'll try to feed it through and make things happen? I'm available. I ain't doing anything. Let me know all your ideas, Rock. I'll try to push everything through. Who we pushing? Jacob Fatu? Is that who needs to be the guy? We'll make Jacob Fatu the guy. Braun Breaker? You want him to be the guy? Ava? You want Ava to replace Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis? I'll make sure that happens. What you need? What you need, Rock? I'll be your proxy. I'll sell my soul to you.
I'm all for selling my soul, Dwayne. Dewey. We love you here. We love you here at In the Weeds. In the Weeds is offering its soul to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We are willing to do his bidding. We're gonna follow in the footsteps of the final boss. We go to the final boss for guidance. Jacob Fatu gonna be the WWE champion. Roman Reigns, we're going to create the Tribal Chief Championship that they were teasing and talking about. The rumors was all about. We're going to do the Tribal Chief Championship, and Roman's going to have that until it's unified with the WWE Championship, and Jacob Fatu becomes the almighty Tribal Chief Champion, and that replaces the WWE title. Jimmy and Jay will hold all the tag team titles, as well as Jay holding the World Heavyweight Championship. Ava is going to be the general manager of all of WWE, and then she's going to win the women's championship. Well, one of the women's title, because the other is going to go to Nia Jax. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Sounds like we already are booking the best Rock produced WWE right there.
What you need, Rock? At one time, I had $7 in my pocket as well. I feel like we're very relatable on that. Whatever. You know my favorite Dwayne story now? He no longer tells the $7 story as much. He still does it. He still has to. He tells the heel turn story in every interview now.
Yes, he does.
He's like, oh, I had an injury. They were chanting Rocky sucks, and I had to go away. I had an injury, and they wanted to bring me back, and Vince wanted to turn me heel, and I was like, okay, I need 5 minutes on the mic. That's all. That's what I need. You give me 5 minutes on the mic, and we'll make this work. And then we were off from right there. Every single time he has to tell this story about his heel turn and how it's no longer $7. It's 7 minutes. That's all I need. $7 and 7 minutes. The story of The Rock. That's going to be the documentary when it eventually comes out. Look at this. I'm already pitching great ideas for you, Rock.
For real. That's a great idea. That's the movie right there. That's the movie right there. $7, 7 minutes. That's all I needed to change my career.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen, Rock. SP3 and I will get your ideas through to the WWE creative team, and we will try to bully Triple H for you and all of this.
It's so good. I keep saying this, but I will repeat myself. This is like the most fascinating, most interesting, and intriguing story going on within WWE. Nothing on screen is as interesting as Rock versus even in 2025. Rock versus Triple H is still an all-timer rivalry because now it goes beyond the ring. It goes beyond the mic. It goes beyond the mic battles that they used to have when The Rock made us all realize that all of Triple H's promos are 20 minutes, and he goes, rah, 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 rah,
We got to settle this in the ring somehow. Now, actually, no, we don't have to settle in the ring. Wrestling is stupid.
No. Yeah. No, exactly. No, bump all that. Then it means it's gonna be settled. It's never should be settled. Never, ever. This should be going on for years to come. Because what's one of the better kind of results or consequences of all of this? Tony Khan has been quiet as hell because he don't have to say anything. You don't have to say a damn thing. That's the best thing. Tony Khan can just focus on being in the weeds like we are here every Monday through Friday. Tony Khan is in the weeds, and he's trying to make AEW as good of a product as possible. Sometimes the ratings are not good. Sometimes they are good. We don't know the numbers on Max. We can't figure it out for sure. Some people don't believe the reports. Some people do believe the reports. It does not matter. AEW, the last 2 weeks have been very good to all-timer dynamites. Collision has been consistent pretty much all this year, and the ratings are doing well over on Collision. And Tony Khan doesn't have to say a damn word. All he has to do is answer for his ridiculous Death Riders obsession. That's the only thing he has to answer. He don't have to talk about WWE at all. We don't have to get Cope out here to cutting his rah promos. We don't have to get FTR talking about how they love AEW and all this stuff. No more Kenny Omega restoring the feeling promos. We could just focus on doing a good, coherent wrestling show. And we don't need anything to talk about WWE at all because WWE is doing it all to themselves.
Here's how The Rock wins SP3. He becomes president. The Rock is going to become president, not to fix the country, because he's going to become president just to pull up even bigger power play on Triple H. Rock, what about our relationship with China? Yeah, we sent him Triple H. Yeah, he's a great He's over there now.
He's running China. I got him running China right now.
The global localization of NXT is headed over to China. Triple H is doing all of our negotiating over there. Rock, what's going on with Russia?
Triple H has this whole new law that he just produced. He's like, I like the finished product of that law, but I just would have finessed it a little bit better. I would have done things a little bit differently there. But he's doing a great job. I love collaborating with him over in China.
The Rock is going to become president just to overthrow Triple H from creative in WWE. That's his whole end game. The first thing he's going to do when he gets sworn in is just sign an executive order that says Triple H is no longer allowed to be in WWE. And then he resigns as president. Then he's just like, oh, my work here is done. Thanks everyone for your votes. Thanks everyone for your confidence. I've accomplished what I need to. The country is in somebody else's hands now. That's it. That's how The Rock wins. He becomes president of the United States of America just to overthrow Triple H from WWE.
Long gamer. What do we always say? He's a long gamer. I like the way you're.
That's an extremely long game. Is you're gonna go to the highest order just to fuck with this dude's WWE career.
Hey,
Rock said, shouldn't have been talking shit in 1996, you bitch.
The highest order possible. He's thinking 20 steps, not even 10 steps ahead, Will. He's thinking 20 steps ahead. Long gamer. This is the long gamer.
Sean's looking around like, what just happened around here? Sean's like, I'm in charge now. He's that meme of that guy who got drafted and he's just sitting on his couch. He's like,
me?
I'm running the show.
He would do that, just to mess up their friendship. He's going so far. His real goal is not to get Triple H out of power. It's to ruin the friendship of Triple H and Shawn Michaels by having Shawn have to take over the head of creative when he gets Triple H the hell up out of here. He's like, now explain that to your best friend. Give us an induction speech for that now, huh? You can't even praise him after he's gone and put him in the Hall of Fame. You already did it. You wasted 2 hours of our time doing that crap.
A couple of super chats. Tenders is saying Nick Khan in between the two is interesting. I don't know if Nick Khan's really in between them. I think Nick Khan's on Rock's side, but he knows how to pick and choose his battles a little bit. So, and Tenor was saying clip of the Rock going around to saying fix it to Paul. And we brought that up. SP3 brought up the promo that Triple H did afterwards. But yeah, they did that backstage at the WrestleMania kickoff where Rock said, "Fix it," or "I will," and everything. I can't wait. I can't wait for The Rock to come back in a couple of months and just do some dumb shit that fucks things up again. It's my favorite story in WWE at this point.
It's the best one. It's the best one.
Just The Rock returning whenever he wants. And Triple H has got to like sit there and act like he's happy because he's The Rock and he's one of the top stars in the entire world. And he can't just be like, no, we don't actually, Rock. We don't need you around here. We think it's better if you're not around here. He's got to sit there and be like, we love having Rock, love collaborating with Rock. We've been collaborating for 25 years. I text the picture. I was at a movie premiere once, and they had photos, and it's The Rock doing the people's elbow when he does the goosebumps things. That's real. I text him the photo of him. You can see the goosebumps. He tells his fucking story every single time. I text him this photo. He's doing the people's elbow. You could see the goosebumps. And I just say, like, there's nothing better than this, right? You can't get this feeling anywhere else. Hollywood, take 1, take 2, take 3. There's nothing better than being in front of that live crowd. When he does the goosebumps, he's really feeling that. That's his real reaction to this. We love having The Rock. We love collaborating for 25 years. They got to try to play nice in these interviews.
We've been doing this for 25 years. How he says it's had so much contempt involved. It's so funny. It's so funny.
It absolutely rules. It absolutely rules.
This is the best story. This is the best story in all of wrestling, not just WWE. This is the best story in all of wrestling. I'm sorry. I enjoy AEW, and I've been really enjoying it lately. I love New Japan Pro Wrestling. Love the story of Hiroki Goto finally winning the big one. But there ain't no bigger story in wrestling that is going to keep going like The Rock and Triple H. This is 20. We've been watching them for the better part of 30 years. It started when The Rock debuted in 1996. I was there live in Madison Square Garden for his debut. And I'm here now. And I'm here. I could be on YouTube talking about it pretty much every day of the week. This is wonderful.
The Rock, do you think he uses, because like Jacob Fatu is an easy one, right? Like a family member is an easy person of like, push this guy, push. Drew McIntyre is the guy.
There we go.
He's already working with Drew. They're doing the Under Armour nonsense and all that stuff. Drew is the guy where he's like, push your way in there. Get to that top spot. Take over in this top spot. Maybe Seth, because I love The Rock because he does this interview with McAfee and he calls Seth the Superman of WWE. He's like, Seth Rollins, we call him the Superman. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, oh yeah, that one guy was texting me about, selling his soul. He's like, my soul's for sale. I call him the Superman. It's like, you literally just said Seth Rollins is this guy. You can't just say it was Seth.
Why can't you just say it, Ryan? What are you talking about? Please make sense.
You know what needs to happen? Smashing Machine needs to be a critical flop, because if it is, Rock's coming back. Keep an eye on Smashing Machine. I don't think it'll do big box office anyway, because it's the niche story about an MMA fighter, and Mark Kerr was great. Mark Kerr was not like a super popular guy during his time. He was popular at a time where MMA wasn't the most popular thing in the world. Like he wasn't superstar level guy, like even like a Chuck Liddell, even like a Randy Couture type, a Tito Ortiz. Like he was before that wave when MMA, like he wasn't Hoist Gracie or anything. Mark Kerr was on a certain level. It's not going to do huge critical or huge box office because it's a super niche story. But everyone's looking at the critical performance of The Rock because everyone's saying he stepped out of his comfort zone finally. He's done. He's not doing a Disney film. He's not doing superhero action hero Rock. He's doing something completely different. He's actually trying to do a performance. He's trying to go after an award. He's trying to win something with this. If this is a critical flop, if critics are like, movie was fine, Rock was awful as Mark Kerr. Rock was all over the place. He had an accent in one scene, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And the next, he was stiff. His delivery wasn't good. If he gets panned critically, The Rock will appear on the next episode of WWE SmackDown. They're going to put out that blast. The moment one bad critical review comes in, New York Times says The Rock's performance was uneven and Smashing Machine. 5 minutes later, The Rock set to appear WWE SmackDown in New Jersey.
It's so true, because I don't think he does the McAfee show this week if he wasn't getting criticized for not showing up at WrestleMania. It's quite obvious. It's not even like a question. It's quite obvious that that's the only reason why he did that interview, is because he was getting some backlash for not showing up at WrestleMania, for not being part of the main event of WrestleMania. And there were even people that were kind of blaming him on the main event not being as well, when that main event had so many other problems, like we've established this week, outside of The Rock not showing up. The Rock not showing up was a big one, don't get me wrong, but it was not the real reason why the main event was lackluster and didn't perform up to snuff. But this two people that got like all the evidence, all the fingerprints of being behind the crime, and they're pointing at each other. They're snitching on each other in different interrogation rooms. This is all we're seeing between The Rock and Triple H. Rock and Triple H did a whole big bank robbery, but they got no loyalty to one another. So they're like, oh, it's all his plan. It was all Paul's plan. It was all Dwayne's plan. Yeah. He put me up to this. I didn't want to do it. I told him it was the wrong thing to do. I told him the cameras would be on and would catch us. But nah, it's all his fault. They're too ego. And like the weirdest thing is that they're so much the same too. They're two self-indulgent, egotistical pricks who see it in each other but can't see it in themselves. They're two egotistical pricks that want to be the good guy. They're like, no, I'm a good guy. I want to be liked by the fans. I love the fans. I'm the people's champion. Oh yeah, I'm doing this creative for all of you. They had to push me to go out there. I don't want the spotlight. I want to stay away from the spotlight. Both of them. They are so much the same. That's what makes this whole power struggle even more funnier, even funnier than it should be, because they are so much the same, yet they don't see it in themselves. They see it in the other person.
Do you think The Rock would have been better off not saying anything? Because I'm kind of the belief that he could have just chilled, not done this interview with McAfee. Like he was getting heat for, oh, where was The Rock? Where was The Rock? Where was The Rock? But Triple H was also getting a lot of heat of, this sucked. The build sucked. And this main event sucked. It feels like The Rock could have just been silent through this whole thing. And then if he was asked on a red carpet at a Moana premiere or whatever, like, hey, why didn't you show up here? Or he could have sent out a tweet of just been like, thought WrestleMania was great. Sorry, I couldn't make it. I let them know ahead of time I wasn't going to be there. Apologies to all the fans and everything. It feels like people would have been like, oh, I'm kind of on The Rock's side then. If he said he wasn't going to be there, why'd they do this? But because he gave a long explanation, because he did a long form interview with McAfee, he kind of made it worse on himself.
he made it worse for everybody involved because it like, and this is the thing that with the fans feedback to everything, because I know there's a lot of fans that looked at that McAfee interview and was like, oh my god, Dwayne, he's just lying, he's so full of BS, everything he said was a damn lie. But no, the reason why the McAfee interview is such a big deal is because he interwove the truth with his own made up lies. That's what made it even worse. It's like he put everything in a like a bowl and he just stirred it up. He gave us the truth mixed with his own delusions, mixed with his own lies, all at once. And yeah, it did make things worse on himself, worse on Triple H, worse on the WWE and TKO overall than it would have been otherwise. Because him saying that they needed him to push tickets is the first kind of anyone from the TKO side kind of admitting that they are overpricing people. That's why the ticket sales was having an issue. It wasn't because the creative was so bad that not everybody is buying it. The creative wasn't great. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't been great, and it hasn't been great for a while. That's why my ass was saying at the end of 2024, coming into 2025, I was like, it was Luke Owen on Wrestle Talk when they did their predictions for 2025. He was like, 2025 is going to probably be the last great year of Triple H booking. And then I said, Luke is on to something, but he's actually wrong. 2024 was the last great year of booking for Triple H. And I haven't seen anything this year that has kind of reverted me away from that prediction.
Well, you see, SP3, if you were disappointed by the booking at the end of 2024, that was all by design because we had Saturday night's main event, we had a stadium show for the Royal Rumble, we had another Saturday night's main event, we had the Raw Netflix premiere, we had a stadium show for Elimination Chamber, we had a European tour, and we had WrestleMania. So the end of 2024 booking being bad, that was, or underwhelming, that was all part of the plan. I hope you know that.
Yeah, because they had a big run of shows. So if you thought it was lackluster, we got a big run of shows, and they're all gonna deliver. You're gonna be in for some great stuff. So anytime there would be like a surprise of Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble and John Cena's heel turn, they're like, "See, we were right. We were right. Everything's been great, right? Right? You see? Does it feel like WrestleMania season yet? Huh? 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 Look at you guys. Look at you guys. I was right, right? Huh? Huh? Am I right?"
Triple H loves talking about how good his booking is. It rules.
Such an egotistical prick. I hate him.
Don't worry, guys. Bailey will be fine. Bailey will be fine. It's okay.
Bailey will be fine. Don't worry. She's gonna be in Josh Barnett's Bloodsport with Natty Neidhart. Don't worry.
They're gonna send Bailey to TNA. Bailey's gonna show up at Rebellion this week and be like, "Look, see, everything's fine." Bailey said she wanted to go to TNA. She's there.
She did.
She's gonna win the Knockouts title, and people will just be happy, like, "Oh, it's not Tessa." So
yeah, it's gonna be Tessa wins, and then Bailey cashes in Money in the Bank. She didn't win none Money in the Bank, but they just give her a Money in the Bank contract to go cash in. See, we even fixing TNA. Aren't we ambassadors? We're trying to think about the good of pro wrestling. Hey, Drew, can you go out like Gunther and tell everybody how Triple H saved pro wrestling? Thanks. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for that. Do your next interview. Talk about how Triple H saved pro wrestling around the world.
Oh, bless The Rock. I hope he keeps doing interviews. I hope he keeps tweeting and everything. Rules. I thought LaGreca's response was what it should have been, by the way. Yeah, I said it yesterday. Yeah. The rants and stuff aren't always for me. I may not see eye to eye with his opinions and everything, but he's passionate. And I don't have anything wrong with his passion. Telling him it's all a work, don't be passionate. It's just stupid. It's so dumb. Why say that? Why say that? Let the man be passionate. So stupid.
Yeah, and Dave LaGreca is good at what he does because he wouldn't be doing it this long if he wasn't good at what he does, and Busted Open wouldn't be the success that it is because of what he does. It's not for everybody, don't get me wrong, but I'm a person that loves a good rant. But I don't get as emotionally invested into it. I kind of do it as a bit, and you kind of realize that because I do it tongue in cheek usually. But he does it with all the passion in the world because he's a professional wrestling fan. He cares about what he's talking about, and I loved his response. I thought that this was the most articulate response that Dave LaGreca has ever given, and I understood and I felt for the emotion that he was giving as far as towards The Rock. I do wish that LaGreca would show that same energy toward Triple H, but to each his own. To each his own. I think that there are certain fans out there in general, not talking about Dave LaGreca now, that always want to pick a side when it comes to that's gonna pick a side when it comes to this Rock versus Triple H. Either The Rock is wrong and he's ruining things for Triple H, or Rock is right and Triple H tried to mess up what he wanted to do. What we have to realize is that us as fans, there is another option. It's middle of the road and being like they're both wrong. That's where I'm at. They're both, and I'm saying that as someone that historically has never liked Triple H on camera or off camera for all the things that we've heard about him, and someone that has always been a huge fan of The Rock because before he became this Hollywood megastar, he was considered to many fans one of the most selfless pro wrestlers of all time. For where he was as far as his star power, to the people that he would put over during his run, even in his later runs, like him coming back in 2003 and how he put over the Hurricane because of their entertaining segments. He was the guy that Booker T beat and eliminated from the Battle Royal to go on to WrestleMania and face Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 9. The Rock has always been this selfless guy, but it was his return in 2011 and then his success in Hollywood that has completely changed the way he views this business. And it's been quite obvious for the better part of going on, 20 years now?
The Rock's selflessness is overrated. That's my takeaway. He beat he let the Hurricane beat him because the Hurricane was at the spot he was at. Didn't really matter.
Yeah. But he did it. He did it. He did it. He tapped out the Kurt Angle. He put over Kurt Angle when Kurt Angle was coming up. He put over Chris Jericho in 2001. Jericho won his first World Heavyweight Championship from The Rock. He put up Redacted when he was on the rise. Before 4 years later, he would win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 20. So yeah, he's known for always trying to put over those young guys. That's why he got the selfless kind of thing. And I don't think it's overrated. It was rarely ever really talked about until recent years when his ego became the bigger story. I didn't really hear about The Rock being so selfless until he came back in 2011 and we started to see his ego in the wrestling business.
I think everybody talked about how selfless The Rock was. I don't think it was overrated, by the way. I was just being sarcastic there. But yeah, that's one thing everyone always pointed to The Rock is how selfless he was. That's why it became such a shock that he turned into this, and now he's not putting anybody over. Rules. Absolutely rules. Remember, he pinned Cody Rhodes in the main event of night one. He beat Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, he did. He did do that.
Someone's got to ask Ari Emanuel of so if ticket sales are down again, you just gonna call a Rock? Is that what's gonna happen? Are you just gonna call the Rock when things aren't going well? He's gonna be like, I guess so. Guess that's our only play here, huh?
It's like break glass in case of emergency. For Vince McMahon, it used to always be the panic I used to call it panic button booking. The PBB, button booking, where he would always put a McMahon on TV. He would always bring out your Undertakers, your Triple H, the Authority, and that was his way of always being like, you see, guys, everything's fine. Everything's fine. You thought I was struggling. You thought I wasn't doing well, but everything's fine. Here's your favorite from 20 years ago. Here's a booking trope that we did for 30 years that has been working, and now it's gonna work again. Everything's fine. For now, with TKO in charge, now they just have the rock button. They press the rock button. Like anytime anything's struggling, let's press that rock button. Hey Rock, come on through. You want to have our top babyface, our top merch mover be a heel and sell his soul to you? Sure, why not? You're in charge.
That's the next play, by the way. I think
Yes.
it's going to be if the crowd starts booing Cody at all. And they started it at WrestleMania, but we'll give it a little bit of a pass because it's the WrestleMania crowd, and it's not always. Dominic Mysterio got big cheers for that.
Yeah.
We got to see sort of how things play out once they keep going from town to town and everything. And once Cody also gets back on the mic, because Cody did a fantastic job on the SmackDown before Mania, turning the crowd back on his side. So if he can get the crowd back on his side and continue to get big cheers, they're obviously going to keep riding with him as babyface. The second he starts getting booed, Dwayne's sending the text to Nick Khan being like, you got to pull the trigger. You got to turn him heel. Listen to the crowd reaction. I'll come back. I'll come get his soul. And we can run this whole thing back just like I wanted to. And Triple H is going to fight it until he could not fight it anymore. And he's not going to turn Cody heel just to spite The Rock. And The Rock's going to come back to make sure this heel turn happens just to spite Triple H. That's the next play.
And like, and then what do they do? Because like you guys have to realize, like with them turning Roman heel, we were at a place in WWE where they basically kind of shifted things. Like when Roman gets leukemia at the end of 2018, for the first time in the company's history, there was no male number one. You could have said that the de facto male number one was Seth Rollins, but the overall number one star in the company became a female for the first time, because Becky Lynch was the hottest babyface at that time when Roman goes out with leukemia. And Roman was never the hottest babyface in the company before that, because he got shoved down our throat, and the fans never 100% accepted him. But for the most part, that was also kind of the same thing with John Cena. The fans never 100% accepted him as the top guy, so they were kind of used to it when Roman was getting the same treatment, except on a larger scale. They made Becky Lynch the number one. Roman comes back, and they did like a whole year build up for him to become the champion and become the number one star once again at WrestleMania 36. And then the pandemic happens. Roman leaves, and then they kind of just like, huh. We'll give Drew a shot. We'll give Drew a shot here. We're gonna. Oh, Becky's going away to have her first baby. All right, I guess. We're gonna give the Fiend a shot. We'll give Braun a shot here. They didn't really have a number one until Roman returned, and then the number one guy in the company was the top heel. And that was different as well. They were trying different things because of the pandemic, because of stuff that happened. So like, yeah. But they take all this time with Cody coming in 2022, the long build up, finish his story, what happened at WrestleMania 40. They took so much time, so much storyline investment to make Cody the number one guy. Who is it? Who's the number one guy after Cody though? Like I know there's guys that could be options like your Braun Breakers, like your Jacob Fatu's. You know, Jey Uso is so popular, but Jey Uso's in his late 30s. I don't think a lot of people seem to understand that. He can't be the top guy for the number one guy in the company for years to come. Randy, like you said, like we're gonna say people that are in their 40s. Like everybody else that is like a popular babyface in this company is damn near 40 or already 40. Like there is nobody after Cody Rhodes. That's the thing that is kind of weird right now. So like that's why I understand why Triple H was like, no, that's not happening. We're gonna and Cody was like, no, that's not happening because he worked his ass off to get this position. He left the company, came back, and had the whole 2-year run to lead up to what happened last year. But there is no one after that. They expect Cody to be in this spot for at least 3 to 4 to 5 years, because that's usually the time span that someone can last. You know, John Cena is the exception to the rule. Roman Reigns, for the most part, is an exception to the rule. Usually these top guys, Austin's run was a good 4 years where he was on top, from when he turns babyface at WrestleMania 13 all the way through until probably like the end of 2001 into 2002. That's his run. It was like a 4 to 5 year run of Austin on top, and that includes a 1 year where he wasn't around, and then Rock was able to fill that role. So you had two number ones at the same time, and WWE looked like they were in that position after last year's WrestleMania because Roman became so popular after he left. So they were in a position where they were like, oh man, we got two number ones now. We got Roman, who has been the number one, and now we got Cody, who's been the number one. And now you have this big outlier, this big black cloud over the company named Dwayne, who could come in at any point and say, nope, I'm going to take both of these. I'll give Rock a role. I'm going to give Roman a role in this movie, and I'm going to turn Cody heel. What you going to do now, Paul?
I think Cody's run's going to be at least another 5 years. I don't think Cena and Roman are the exceptions anymore. I think that's kind of the rule. I don't think we're going to see Rock and Cena, or sorry, Rock and Austin, like quick runs like that. Largely because of just how things have changed. There's less of that quick burnout with everything. And I mean, look how long like Seth has been at the top of the company, and for as a high profile position. Punk comes back in and immediately top of the company. Look how long Randy's been in a high profile position. I think this is just the game now, because most of these guys are wrestling into their 50s. So if they are on top in their 40s, it's like, well, that's a 10-year run out there. And obviously, if they've been on top since they've been 35 or so, well, now you're at a 15-year run. I think
you named a whole bunch of guys who's never been number one and never going to be number one.
I'll
be honest. I know what you were saying. You were kind of just making it more widespread, but like I'm saying, number one is number one. Seth Rollins never been number one, and Randy Orton's never been number one. CM Punk, he's been very popular. Don't get me wrong, and he probably should have been a number one, but he's never been a number one. In this company, at least in WWE. Like I said, like Austin's run in his career is much longer than the 5 years he was number one in WWE.
Right.
For The Rock, he had a short, relatively short first run, but for most of it, he was a number one guy. But yeah,
but Austin,
it's very rare that you have two number ones in one company, and they had that, and it doesn't seem like it's going to last that long. Where Roman saying he's going to be on the way out in like a few years, and Cody, Rock has basically put out the roadmap that he's eventually going to be a heel.
My point on those guys, and to go back to your point on Austin and Rock were mid-carders until they blew up into the main event. And then, once they blew up and they were on top, their run was pretty short, all things considered, on top. When I'm talking Seth, I don't have to use Punk because he was gone from WWE for 10 years. But when I'm talking Seth and Randy, maybe they haven't been number one, but these guys have been high profile spots for 15, 20 years now. These are not just like, oh, they've been toiling in the mid card, they blew
No.
up, they are all of a sudden like they've been high profile guys for 15 to 20 years. So I'm talking about like the longevity of just high profile guys, not even necessarily the number one guy. Because to the point, the number one guy, yeah, it's been Cena, it's been Roman, but the number two guys have had extended runs as the number two guys in the company. So that's why when I'm looking at like who's next, like if it's Braun Breaker, let's say Braun Breaker, who is in his 20s, I'm going to get Braun Breaker's exact age. He's 27.
Yeah.
Let's say he main events WrestleMania 43. 42 might be too soon. 43 doesn't feel inconceivable. That's a high profile top spot, potentially the number one guy, depending on where he falls and everything by that point. At 29 years old, you're telling me he's not going to be in that spot for at least 10 years? He's only going to be 39 at that point. Again, these guys are going to their 50. Like he's going to be in that high profile 1, 2, 3 spot for at least 10 years if he main events WrestleMania in the next couple of years. I think the longevity of all these guys nowadays makes it more likely that you have a Roman level guy, that you have a Cena level guy, and it's not this short catch fire for 2, 3, 4 years and then they're just gone. Austin's admitted he was just burnt out with everything and he couldn't. They were running hard, the live events with everything. It's different being at that top level at that time compared to now being at that top level at that time. Rock went on to Hollywood. If Rock doesn't go to Hollywood, he stays in wrestling. He continues to be one of the top guys in wrestling. There's obviously ways of, hey, maybe Braun Breaker goes to Hollywood as well. Maybe someone else who is in that top spot goes to Hollywood. But now, again, with the schedule, you can kind of balance those things. You can take a year off and go to Hollywood and then come back and continue to do things. MJF is an example of that. He's been at the top of AEW since basically the beginning, and he's taken plenty of time off during that, but he hasn't lost his spot of where he's at in AEW. He's always at a high profile spot there. I think Cena and Roman are now the rules, and Austin and Rock are kind of the exception to everything.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, literally, this is something that's been going on for 20. We've had 20 years of just two number one stars, and the outlier kind of being like a third with Becky Lynch for a year. Like this is how long it goes. Jay Krez, that's a good question. I think that we can both agree though. Becky is an exception to the rule. I don't know if we're ever going to have another number one overall female star like that. Becky felt like it was like lightning in a bottle. And the way WWE is today and the way they book the women, I don't know if it's ever going to be on that level where they have to shift. They're forced to make that shift and make a female star the number one star. I think that Rhea Ripley has every ability in the world to be a number one star for WWE. I just don't know if the current landscape of the company is going to allow her to do that.
That's why it's always so jarring when you look at like basically 10-year periods in wrestling. Look at 1994 to 2004 and how so much shifted in that time. You basically went through 3 different eras right there.
Yeah.
You're talking the new generation, the attitude era, and then the ruthless aggression era, all in that 10-year gap. Now look at 2015 to 2025. Roman Reigns is headlined every single WrestleMania in that 10-year period. Like 94 to 2004, how many different WrestleMania main eventers did we have during that time period?
So yeah, Brett and Yoko. Then you had LT and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
You had Brett and Shawn Michaels, so Brett has 2 at this point. Then you had Sid and The Undertaker, Michaels and Austin,
So
Austin
Michael's
and
got
Rock,
2. Yeah.
Austin and Rock. Then you had so Austin has 2 at this point. Then you had Rock, Triple H, Big Show, and Mankind. So Rock has 2 at this point. Then you had Rock and Austin again. Then you had Triple H and Chris Jericho. I always remember Rock and Hogan first at that show, and then I
Right.
remember it wasn't the main event. And then you had Brock and Kurt Angle, and then WrestleMania 20 was Benoit, Triple H, and Michaels.
So Michaels has 3 during that time. Triple H has 3. Austin
Austin has
has
3.
3. Rock has 3. So yeah, you've got and Brett has 2.
Yeah.
So that's a 10-year period right there where you've got a few guys with 3, a few guys with 2. And then you look at from 2015 to 2025. I know the 2 nights kind of throws like, okay, you got a little bit more. Let's take away the first night. Sorry, that might be a little bit unfair.
We're gonna talk about the real main event. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What closes the weekend is usually the real main event. So
Yeah.
2015 was Roman and Brock. We're gonna hear that a lot. Roman and Triple H, Roman and Undertaker, Roman and Brock. Then it was Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. Then you had 20 was McIntyre and Brock. Then it was Roman, Bryan, and Edge. Then it was Roman and Brock again. Then it was I laugh every time. Roman and Cody, Roman and Cody, Cody and Cena.
So Cody's got 3 in a 3-year span. Roman's got about 20, and Brock's got
Roman main evented every WrestleMania unless he had leukemia or there was a pandemic. That's outrageous to say, but that's literally why he doesn't have 2 main events of WrestleMania. He would have main evented every WrestleMania in that 10-year span.
So can you look at just the changeover on these 10-year gaps here? And it's like, yeah, the kind of the exception is that era with Austin, Rock, Brett, Shawn, all these guys. And now we're just in a world where guys get 10, 15 years on top and in that main event scene.
Yeah, it's I do agree. You're probably right. Yeah, that was a good way to kind of do a work study and go over the history. Where you're probably right that Cena and Roman have changed the game so much and were on top for so long that now they are not the exception to the rule. They are the rule now. So and the whole company is different now because they're not doing all the house shows that they used to. They can conserve their body for that type of stuff. They don't need to wrestle on every TV show. We saw throughout the build to WrestleMania, like Punk and Seth had like 1 match in like 3 months, like before they got to WrestleMania. Roman had 1 match. Roman had 2 matches before WrestleMania this year. From January on, he had the match against Solo on the premiere, and then the Royal Rumble. Yeah. That was it. And then he wrestled at WrestleMania. So, and the contracts are so different that you can work it out where you have more days off. So, it is totally different. And these guys can preserve their bodies where they are wrestling into their early 50s and still being on top and still being in a prominent position. Someone like John Cena, who he is not the same worker, and he admits it. He's not the same worker that he used to. Now he's the WWE champion again. So he's getting one last ride out into the sun as a top tier star in the company. So it is a totally different industry now. So you're probably right. I can concede this argument that I was wrong. That's not the exception to the rule now. It is the rule.
Until we get in there on behalf of Dwayne. And then we're going to have a new WrestleMania main eventer every single year.
Every year. Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, all of them. These are the stars that we're pushing, unless Dwayne says otherwise.
Yeah, we're pushing who Dwayne says. If he doesn't like
Yeah.
any of these people, we don't like him either.
Yeah, we don't. I'm sorry, Dwayne. I'm sorry, Final Boss. I'm sorry.
All right. TNA was last night. You already reviewed this show. I don't have anything to say about the show. The Kendrick Lamar spot was cool. I did laugh at that.
I see dead people.
That was so unexpected. Like, so unexpected. It rolled, bless. Whoever pitched that, I assume it was Jeff.
Yes, it had to be Jeff. He's like, I'm going to Wale Mania. Let's
Yeah. I assume it was Jeff, but it was fantastic. Yes, Val. Now I'm getting to your super chat. Renell Fumble is what we call when we put gothic mustard on the beat. Oh,
got the mother on the beat. Oh, dun, dun, dun. I will say they're 2 for 2 on the Hardy Compound matches in TNA, because the first one with the system with Moose jumping into the Lake of Reincarnation and then coming out with his whole football uniform and everything they did with like Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, that was a bunch of fun. But this one was probably funnier because it was like an acid trip. You had freaking emo Ryan Nemeth, and Ryan Nemeth trauma dumping onto Wolfie. Oh man, the Hardy's kids are so good in this role. You had Bartholomew. He was roasting Ryan Nemeth. He's like, "You want to hear a joke? Your career." Oh, I was like, they should have had someone to go. Oh,
that was funnier than anything said at that 2-hour roast.
Exactly. I was like, they should have hired these guys for the roast.
Yeah. Been much fun.
Freaking, even Ryan Nemeth's joke where he was like, when your mom goes to the restaurant and the waiter asks what she wants, she says a short stack. He says, "Oh, I thought you already had one," pointing at you. I was like, that's funnier than anything I heard on the roast.
That was a good segment with the Hardy Compound. You can't do this stuff like every week because then it loses its luster. But when they do them, it always turns out well. Like the Hardys they understand what they're going for in this. And I just assume because they've been doing this for so long that TNA is just like, yeah, shoot whatever you want. We'll edit it however you want. We'll run it. Like we trust you guys with all of this, as they should. They've earned that over the years. But like every time they do it, it always works out. Even the stuff, I know like the WWE stuff was like a watered down version, but even that was something different and good. The AEW stuff, the firm deletion was good.
Yeah.
Like every time they do the Hardy Compound stuff, it always hits and they always come up with something different and creative because they obviously have different characters to play off of and different histories to play off of with everything. So yeah, once I saw that the Nemesis were going to the Hardy Compound, I was like, oh, okay, this should be good. Something good on this show for once.
Yeah, I said last night on the post show, I thought that the show overall, it was very much carried by its pre-tape promos, pre-tape video packages and vignettes, like the Hardy Compound stuff. That was probably the main highlight of the show. But man, did me and Cresta have a good time talking about Eric Young roofing Steve Macklin. Oh my God, he roofied him. He gave him a drink and this dude passed out. I was like, they doing roofie spots in TNA. I was like, God damn, what are we doing? This is not the Hangover 4. This is not the Hangover 5. What the hell are we doing?
TNA Rebellion is this weekend. Sure. Do you want to preview this thing?
I'm going to be doing a long form preview with Cresta at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time, but we can give like quick fire predictions for the card because they got new matches. Sean Waltman's going to be on the show.
Yeah,
He's going to be in the corner of the Rascals and Ace Austin. That should be a bunch of fun. So
yeah, that's cool that Sean Waltman is showing up. TNA legend, X Division champion legend. So it's cool that Waltman's there. I think Ultimate X will be fun. Very curious how Moose fits in to all of that. And honestly, Matt Cardona, how he fits in to the Ultimate X. The rest of these guys are like, okay, Vikingo, Slater, Sidney Akeem, Casey Navarro. Like, yeah, I see how that works. But Cardona is an odd fit for this. Moose can at least be a base, and like he's an athletic dude. But I'm very interested how Cardona does in all of this. I assume Moose is going to retain, but I wouldn't mind if there was a title change here. What do you think? Who do you think's winning this one?
I'm gonna go with my personal favorite. Ever since I interviewed him, he's become my favorite person in TNA because I got to talk about WWE 2K14 and why the John Cena and Rock portion of the 30 years of WrestleMania gave me PTSD. It is Leon Slater. Leon Slater, 20 years old. He's one of the hottest stars on the UK scene. He could become the youngest ever X Division champion. And the fact that the Ultimate X came out before he was born. The first Ultimate X happened before he was born is crazy to me. So I think that would be cool to have someone who wasn't even born when they had the first Ultimate X win an Ultimate X match at Rebellion and just freshen up the X Division scene and make it more of what TNA was kind of brought up on. I like Moose as the champion. I think he's done a great job as champion, but I would like to see Leon Slater get the win here. I think I'm not that confident that that's going to happen. I think that Moose probably does retain, but I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to go with Leon Slater.
Okay. I wouldn't mind it if Leon Slater won. I just feel like Moose is probably going to end up winning this. Do you think Tessa wins the Knockouts title?
My head says yes, but I'm going to go with my heart and say, please, Masha Slamovich, win this damn matchup. I thought Masha did a good job with, I don't know if you saw the vignette that they did for her, talking about the Tessa attacking Johnny Rods. But I'm still annoyed. I said it on the post show yesterday. I will say it here. Why didn't they ever show the whole Tessa attack Johnny Rods skit that they did as a digital exclusive? Why they usually always show whatever important digital exclusive is a part of a main storyline. They usually replay it as far as like clips on the actual television show. They never did that for the whole Johnny Rods skit. So I was like, please just show it before Rebellion. They didn't show it last night. Hopefully they show it on the Rebellion pre-show as a part of the video package. I don't know, but that was a very strange move in my opinion. It's becoming the norm with the North American companies that the good stuff that happens as digital exclusive or happens online, they don't show it on TV. And I don't like that being the norm.
I never understood that, of why it's just an online thing. I know Joel thinks because the fans don't deserve to watch anything good. But what's this stuff online? All these companies do this. It's so weird to me of why you wouldn't just show this stuff on television. Cut the wrestling down. Do less wrestling. Show more video packages. show more promos.
And that's what made last night's TNA Impact actually entertaining. It was the video packages, the vignettes that they aired. The wrestling was fine, but not in the right home about. The best match was probably Ace Austin and Trey Miguel versus the System, but the vignettes, the video packages, that's probably where TNA should go. And they shown that with their best storyline heading into Rebellion with Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali. Like all their pre-tape stuff and vignettes that they have shot has really been the strength of why everybody is invested in that storyline.
There were 3 matches on Raw. Everyone's calling it the greatest Raw ever. Wrestling's overrated. I've been saying this for years. Knock it off. Don't do it.
Jeremy's dropping that knowledge for us again. Dropping that knowledge for us. He's like, screw all your bump all that 5-star rating. No, bump all that big meaty men slapping me. Give me less wrestling. That's what I want. That's
Promos and video packages, baby. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Joe Hendry wins in the main event. Maybe.
I wouldn't hold my breath, honestly, because this is TNA. Would TNA? You got to ask yourself this simple question: would TNA have their TNA World Champion go to WrestleMania, put the title and himself over on the largest scale possible at the biggest wrestling show of the year, have them lose in 3 minutes, but still kind of brag about it because you got the exposure of the TNA World Champion and the title being on WrestleMania, and then turn around a few days later and have them lose in the main event of a pay-per-view? And I don't know if you ask me, who's been watching TNA since I was paying $10 for their pay-per-views on a Wednesday night. Yes, TNA would definitely do that. So I don't think it's and the fact that Frankie Kazarian lost at Unbreakable, lost in the tag team matchup on the Go Home show, it makes me believe he might just win on Sunday. But that would be the dumbest move ever. And no, it wouldn't be the dumbest move ever because TNA has made a lot of dumb moves. It would be the dumbest move of this year to have Joe Hendry lose this title right now. But I wouldn't put it past TNA also.
Joe Hendry coming out and just being like, if that's being buried, then keep it coming. Keep that coming to me. Randy Orton turned around, then he hit my pose. Everyone who knows that like that's Randy Orton giving me a sign of respect. I didn't mind how the match was laid out. I didn't think Joe Hendry was buried or anything. I think like accepting that is a little lame. Like I feel like if I was in that spot, and there's a reason I'm not in that spot, I feel like I would be like, it was about a moment. Like, would I have liked to do a longer match? Would I have liked to, done 10 minutes with Randy and really shown what I was all about? Yeah, I would have liked to do that. Like it's WrestleMania. Of course I want to be out there and do a long match with Randy Orton and give him a good match. But just being like, we were in the entertainment spot. It was supposed to be short. I wasn't buried at all. Like WWE is just handing you this shit. It's like, here you go. This is what you're having. And you're like, okay, thank you. Thank you for handing me this. Like, show a little bit that I wanted to do more. I wanted to represent TNA more. I wanted to show that I am a good wrestler, that I'm not just a meme and a catchphrase and a song. Instead, it was just, I'm fine. I was cool with doing that. I wasn't buried at all. Like, I understand the fan sentiment of thinking he was buried. I truly do. Like, I don't personally feel that way. I saw it for what it was. I'm more on Joe's side with everything. But I understand when people are like, that's your TNA World Champion. Like, he did 3 minutes. He got just a 3-minute match and lost. And that's the guy you're saying is your world champion. It does look a little minor league. Like it does.
Yeah.
And people pointing out the example, and Joe Hendry did this as well John Cena lost a squash match at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan lost a squash match at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan was under contract to the company. He was not representing another promotion. He was under contract to the company.
Yeah.
And the only reason he recovered is because CM Punk walked out. There's no guarantee he was recovering otherwise. Sorry. John Cena lost a squash match after headlining 6 WrestleManias. It ain't like this was John Cena's first ever WrestleMania appearance, and he just goes out there and gets squashed. John Cena was John Cena. Had Joe Hendry came in and squashed Randy Orton, no one would have been like, oh, Joe Hendry squashed Randy Orton. They buried Randy Orton. How could they do this to Randy Orton? They would have been like, oh shit, Joe Hendry, that's a TNA World Champion? That's great. No one would have thought Randy Orton would have lost anything because he's Randy Orton at this point. No offense to Joe Hendry. He's doing what he can as TNA champion. I've criticized the booking and how he's been used ever since he's won the title and even before that. He's gotten super popular. He's gotten very over on his own in doing what he has done. He ain't on the level of John Cena and Randy Orton. I'm sure he would tell you that as well. He's not on that level in terms of any type of star popularity metric. Maybe when it comes to virability, but that's about it. So to compare yourself to John Cena, you kind of missing the point here.
Yeah, I think these people, like the wrestlers who were responding to like any fan feedback or fan criticism, they just go to like the simplest common denominator, and you can tell they don't think twice about it. They get told something to run with, and they run with it, and they don't think about it twice. But us as fans hear what they say, let it marinate, and then think about it twice, and it makes no sense at all. So it's like you said, there's different context to the people that he tried to compare himself to in this situation. And I think that the best way to look at the whole Joe Hendry WrestleMania debut is that it's a great moment for Joe Hendry. It is not a great moment for TNA. The fact that TNA tried to say, oh, we're totally fine with this, you know, we're totally happy at the exposure that they had. Well, guys, you're always going to be second rate. That's basically what that told me, that you're always going to be second rate. You're never going to be the number 2 company in the God forbid you never even try to be the number 1 company, but you'll never be even a number 2 company because you are very happy to take whatever scraps that you get left on the table. Whatever crumbs from the steak dinner with potatoes and butter and corn and all the vegetables that WWE gets, whatever they leave on the table or whatever's underneath the table that they accidentally dropped off their fork, you will eat it and it will be the greatest meal that you've ever tasted in your life. That's what that whole response from TNA told me. I want to like TNA. And it's no denying that last year, TNA was the benefactor of the whole WWE, partnership. The WWE, the partnership with TNA or the working relationship they had with TNA didn't really benefit them, really. It really benefited TNA because they were able to sell more tickets for their TV tapings, more tickets for their pay-per-view events than they have in several
years.
years. They were the benefactor of this. But since the start of this year, I think WWE is just firmly not even wearing the pants in their relationship. They're wearing the pants and then they're taking off their belt and they're like, take that. It's a BDSM relationship right now. They're telling them to bend over on all knees so you make sure that everybody knows you are beneath us. We signed this partnership so everybody knows where the daddy. You're in the other position. You wear the skirt here. It's a very 1950s style relationship. It's not a modern relationship at all between TNA and WWE right now. And it's really embarrassing if you are a TNA fan. And it's like I said before about WWE, how can we support this company here? But I really am saying the same thing about TNA. How can you support somebody who's very happy to take not even leftovers, take crumbs off of a table? You have to at least be like, hey, yeah, we wish that we could have used they could have used Joe in a different way, but Joe got a great moment in his career that we had the TNA World Championship at WrestleMania. We understand that there's going to be some fans that are upset with the TNA World Champion losing in that matter, but don't worry, just watch TNA so you could see that he is the guy who is leading the charge for our promotion. I think that is a good way to acknowledge the feedback and criticism, but then turn it in a way that's beneficial to you as a company. Just being happy that your TNA World Champion lost in 3 minutes, it's kind of embarrassing.
Here's what they should do. And Frankie Kazarian's not the guy to do this with. It'd be nice if they actually had like a guy to be in this spot. Santana's probably the guy, but he's a babyface, so he's not the guy you're gonna make. It'd be nice if they had a guy they could make with this. Is my point here. But here's what they should do. Frankie Kazarian wins this match in 2 minutes, and they say he beat Joe Hendry faster than Randy Orton. He not only beat Joe Hendry, he beat Ethan Page as well. NXT superstar, former NXT champion, Ethan Page. He beat both of them in 2 minutes. Again, if you had a guy you could actually make off of this, if they had their Obafemi that they could like, oh, this is the next big dude, this is what I would do. Frankie Kazarian is not the guy for that. Frankie Kazarian is, bless him, he's 40-something years old, and that's not the guy you really want to do this gimmick with. He's not your next big, great superstar. He's been there for 20 years. So
he was the future in 2004.
Yeah.
It was Frankie the Future Kazarian in 2004. It ain't the future is here, and he's not. So yeah, if you had I mean, this would have been a great spot for Hammerstone. Like Hammerstone could have been that type of guy that you can build around, and that's young enough that you can have a kind of a future with him, and he has that kind of big stature to be a monster heel like that. But no, they don't have that.
Hammerstone's only 34. I thought he was much older. So yeah, Hammerstone's actually a really good shout. I thought he was like late 30s or so. 34 is not bad. So yeah, I think Hammerstone would have been a good call, honestly, but Hammerstone is not there. So I'm glad saying Leon Slater is not the guy for that spot. One, babyface. Two, that he's smaller. He's just smaller in stature. Like you need a guy. Again, like Hammerstone was a good shout. That's where you would probably go with that. That's why I mentioned like Obafemi, because even like Trick Williams, a bigger dude who could like be believable in beating two dudes in 2 minutes, and Leon Slater would feel more like quick win victory kind of guy.
Exactly.
Not this guy's a monster killer. So, anything else from Rebellion?
Who you got with Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali? Falls Count Anywhere.
I think this is Santana, and Santana's moving on, and he's going to be the next champion.
I want Santana to be the next champion, but we're kind of at this point with Joe Hendry as world champion that I don't think that he should be the guy that is facing a Mike Santana in New York, where you're kind of just asking the crowd to pick a side there.
I'm not positive Joe Hendry. Joel's kind of sold me on that. Joe Hendry's not gonna be that guy. Like, I don't know if Joe Hendry is gonna be the champion by the time they get there, honestly.
But then this whole title reign has been for nothing. Outside of him being at Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. No, oh my God, no, not another company that's moment merchants. We got two companies that's moment merchants. When they signed that deal, that partnership, they became moment merchants too.
Yeah. If you're part of WWE, that's all you are. You're just about the moments. Joe Hendry said that. He said that in his interviews. He's like, that's the kind of champion that I am. Is Josh Alexander put on great matches. I'm about bringing visibility to the TNA title and creating those moments, and that's what I've been doing. So, yeah, secondhand moment merchants. They got the hand-me-down moments. They got the Goodwill store moments out here. It's the hand-me-downs that even those kids didn't want, and so they sent them off the Goodwill, and now people are looking for those moments.
Oh Jesus! Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, TNA? Like, coming off of last year, this should have been like follow that trend of where you were going. But between the moves that they did behind the scenes and just being just cucked by WWE, like it's like I don't know if I can root for you guys. I don't know if I can root for y'all. I want to root for y'all. I enjoy TNA. I have a good relationship with the European side of TNA PR. So like I want to support this company, but they make it so hard for me. So hard.
Yeah. They'll be the number 2 company though, because they're tied with WWE. So
they just have to get that TV deal. That TV deal.
TV deal. Just need the
just
TV deal.
Just one TV deal away.
That's it. Anything else from Rebellion?
I think that's really like the matches I'm looking forward to the most. Steve Macklin and Eric Young for the TNA International Championship should be a good one. They've always had good matches with one another. The 4-way for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, that's going to be a fun one. We had a comment over on the Fightful main channel that you would be mad that you couldn't have clipped me doing Steiner math to the percentages for that matchup, which I did an excellent job. If you mind me, patting myself on the back like I'm Paul or Dwayne. So yeah, I think I did a good job with that Steiner math there. So go over and check that out. And yeah, I think those are like the main matches I'm looking forward to. It should be a good show. I'm more looking forward to Stardom, All-Star Grand Queendom, to be honest, but should be a good show.
Speaking of the All-Star Queen, #bow down, Charlotte Flair. What a transition that was by me.
That was really good.
Charlotte Flair tweeted yesterday, just IDK, I'm just going to wrestle. Vague tweets, but obviously after everything that came out in the roast with whatnot, and just the match in general with Tiffany, she just wants to focus on the wrestling, which is fine by me. I don't get into petty back and forth wars, even though it's hilarious for me, but you don't always need to do it. If she's going to wrestle, we need a character change. We need some type of presentation change coming off of this loss. We need some doubt with Charlotte Flair coming off of this loss. We just need something different. Because in my mind, I'm thinking she's going to wrestle and she's just going to continue this feud with Tiffany. And she's just going to, little sister Tiffany, pat her on the head. You did a great job, Tiffany. Congratulations on your win. But can you do it again? And then we're just going to get this match all over again. That's what I'm thinking. And I need something different. That's what I need something different from the Queen, Charlotte Flair. I don't know if she's going to be on SmackDown tonight. They haven't announced much of anything. I hope they do something different with her. But I hope she does just focus on the wrestling. Because it's been a rough couple of weeks for Charlotte. And personally, I don't know Charlotte personally. Personally, she's gone through a lot. Personally, has never done anything outrageous, certainly to me, to where I'm like, oh yeah, seems like a terrible person. She's trying to live her life. She plays the backstage game in WWE and in wrestling, which they all do. They all should. She gets more opportunities than a lot of people. It doesn't seem like she's a terrible person, personally. And to have your personal life ripped and ridiculed the way it was, I do feel bad for her.
Yeah, I do too. And like Charlotte, for everything that you could say bad about, politicking and stuff like that, like you said, us as fans, she has done nothing to us. I think that she's in a certain place in her career, coming off of that ACL, MCL, and meniscus care, where she's not. We got to understand that she's probably not going to be the performer that she once was. But I think that if she's just focused on wrestling and can block out the outside noise, I think that she can be back in a stable place in her career and contribute to the on-air product in a positive way. I did not like, and I'm one that will pop myself with a Charlotte Flair joke. I did not like any of those Charlotte Flair jokes. It felt very mean spirited. And because she's not there to defend herself, she wasn't involved in anything. I can tell by some of these jokes they were not cleared with her at all. So it felt very mean spirited and like you're talking behind someone's back, but in a public setting. It was very like I said yesterday, I did a whole rant. Go back and check out In the Weeds from yesterday, where I started off the show with a rant because I had to listen to that 2 hours of bull crap. But it just is not funny. It's just edgelord humor that is not for me.
We talked about it in the when the audio came out, even before the audio came out, of like, what is the roast of WrestleMania? You're just roasting 41 years of the event's history, because like typically at a roast you got a guest of honor and then you got people who do the roast and you roast the people that are on stage. Charlotte Flair wasn't there. She wasn't on stage. She wasn't a performer. She couldn't fire back at these people. Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't there. Jinder Mahal is not even employed by the company. Like, you're taking just shots at people. This is why, like, okay, the Paul Heyman is doing jokes about Maurice's vagina. Wasn't funny to me, but at least the Miz is there and can have a retort to all of this. At least the Miz is on stage and he is fodder for what is happening here. Yeah. When that one dude was doing jokes about Nia Jax, wasn't funny to me. Yeah. At least Nia Jax is there and can get on stage and retort all of this and do her own stuff. Taking shots at people who aren't there, it just feels like you are airing grievances more than trying to be funny. I don't know if Freddie Prinze Jr. was there or not. He wasn't on stage, and that's also a thing. If he was there, if he was in the audience, it's still a line when it comes to that stuff, because I'm sure you saw the roast of or I don't know if you did, but the roast of Tom Brady. Kim Kardashian was in the audience and people took shots at Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian didn't get up on stage. She couldn't retort any of that. I don't think so. But she was at least there. So if you're there, if you're sitting in the audience, you kind of become, okay, you might be in the line of fire.
It's like going to an episode of Comic View in the 90s, or nowadays, or in like recent years, it's like going to an episode of Wildin' Out. Like, that sometimes you're going to be a part of the act. You're going to have DC Young Fly be like, look at your braids, you ugly ass boy. Like, you're going to have something like that. But at least that's funny. At least it's so outrageous that you can kind of laugh at yourself and laugh at the humor of everything. And these are actual comedians doing it. No, these are not comedians. They don't have the right delivery. They don't have the right setup. They don't have good routines. Some of these comedians weren't even funny either. Like the whole one who did the whole routine about Nia Jax. First of all, I couldn't even laugh at anything because he was mispronouncing Nia Jax.
Yeah, Nia. Like, he kept saying Nia.
Nia Jax. I was like, who is he talking about? I know who you're trying to talk about. Well, who's he talking about? So shouldn't somebody had told him that's not her name? Her name's Nia. Her name's Nia. It's very simple. You just emphasize the wrong syllables. Like, I don't know. It was it's like, you guys are not funny. Tony Hinchcliffe, Jeff Dye. Like, if Nia was right that Jeff Dye was writing all of Becky Lynch's tweets from back in the day when they were going out, then he's better on Twitter than he is in his comedy routine. Sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes comedians are not good stand-up comedians. They're better at writing.
I've never seen a Jeff Dye. I've known of Jeff Dye for a while. I knew he was like a comedian and stuff. I've never like seen one of his specials. I only know him because of like the people he's dated. That's the only reason I know Jeff Dye. Is
I never knew Jeff Dye went out with Becky
Lynch and Sarah Jean Underwood, very famous Playboy model from back in the day. So that's the only reason I know Jeff Dye, because the people he dated. I never seen his comedy stuff. Don't know if he's any good based on what I heard last night. And he was the co-host with Freddie Prinze on his podcast. Again, these are the only reasons I know Jeff Dye, not from his actual comedy. Because comedy wasn't good from the very little I heard.
Him being horny for all the women's wrestlers. Cool. It's 2025 and we still have to hear about that type of stuff. And then he jokes, "Oh, I don't even like the women's division." And like I appreciate the person who recorded it, but I don't like you very much because your humor sucks. You laughed at everything.
Yeah, they were laughing at everything.
Oh my god, you were. I heard your laughter more than any of the jokes.
You think it's one of those things where it's like, because clearly this worked for that audience. Like that audience was laughing.
Yeah,
and it is a thing of like laughing becomes contagious. Where if you can get 5 people to laugh, that 5 people just basically spreads to everybody else, and so then they want to laugh and everything. I think there was part of that going on. And I do also think that if you go to a comedy show, you kind of know the expectations and you want to laugh. You almost have your predispositioned to laugh at a comedy show because that's what you're there for. Even if it's not like entirely funny, you're just like, it's still funny. I'm still here. I'm still going to laugh. I'm not going to be miserable and just sit here and not laugh at anything. Like you want to laugh. That guy's recording, it still sucks.
He said, with all that being said, it still sucks.
It still sucks. All right. Anything else? SP3. Best wishes to Charlotte Flair. I hope she can just wrestle.
Yeah, just wrestle. I really would love for Charlotte to find her form again. Even though you can't be the performer that you once were, I think that you could still be a solid contributor to the current product. So I'm hoping that Charlotte can find her form. And the one thing that I want to mention about Charlotte in like complimentary terms is that she is so good and nice to her fans. Romeo sent me a screenshot of her putting a heart emoji on one of his comments, and that meant the world to him. And I loved the words that she had to say about Nikki, who recently passed away, who was a part of the wrestling media community and a huge Charlotte Flair fan, huge women's wrestling fan. And the fact that she took time to put out a social media post about that meant a lot to us who were friends, either in person of Nikki or on social media. Like me, I'd only interacted with Nikki on social media, but I knew from their social media how much they love pro wrestling, love Charlotte Flair, loved women's wrestling so much. That meant a lot, and that showed the kind of person that Charlotte Flair is. So hopefully she can find her way in the wrestling world and yes, just focus on wrestling.
Anything else, SP3, before we get out of here?
I think we've met everything. We did like a solid hour and a half on Rocket Triple H, which it's amazing. It's amazing that
there's a lot to talk about.
It's so much.
We cracked a bunch of jokes.
Yeah, we cracked a bunch of shows, but we ain't even scratched the surface. Like there's so much material with Rocket Triple H, and more stuff comes out every day. So it's great.
We know SP3. They've been collaborating for 25 years. They've been going back and forth for 25 years. They love collaborating together. 25 years now. They've been good. We love when The Rock comes in. He's great to work with. I message him that picture every single time. I was at the red carpet premiere and I saw the goosebumps. And there's nothing like this. When he does that, that's real. That's real.
Fix it, Paul. But yeah, we covered everything. It's gonna be a good weekend of wrestling. You got Playoff Palooza for Collision. You got Stardom's All-Star Grand Queendom. You got your TNA Rebellion. I might tell Joel I'll come on Monday just to talk about Stardom if he's not feeling well still.
Joel gonna run from the grind some more. Just Always out here running from the grind. 1 day of work last week, 1 day of work this week. He's not even 2-show Joel at this point. He's 1-show Joel. Running from the grind. Louis Thunder can't close it out on Saturday. It's a 0-0 series. So I don't know how you close it out. 0-0.
They're gonna close it out. Thunder's gonna close it out. Lakers, we got our game tonight. We'll see if we can get a road win and make it a 0-0 series for real. Unlike what Jeremy is saying, a series is not a series until a team wins on the road, and Minnesota did that. And we got to do that in Minnesota. So to even the series and make it 0-0 once again, but we shall see what happens. I have my faith in my Lakers, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, and all the cast, and JJ Redick at the helm. So hoping for that win. And yes, Dave's star ratings are hilarious. They're always hilarious, and the fact that he gave Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton 1.75 stars, Dave never changed, because he gave 5 stars to Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Shout outs to Dave trying to beat those allegations. Shout outs to Dave. Okay. He gave the full boat to them. Shout outs to him. He's given 4 women's matches 5 stars. He heard us, y'all. He heard all the allegations, and he's like, you know what? Another 5 stars. He loves Io. Io Sky is now getting the Will Ospreay boost. He's getting the Will Ospreay treatment from Dave Meltzer, and you love to see it. So good stuff there from Dave with the ratings. No, I did not see his Butterbean.
It's like negative 375.
I just looked it up. He says this was negative 459.7 stars.
I understood
like the worst match ever. He says puts in parentheses negative 273.15 if you live outside the US. Worse than the Sheik and Koloff match on Heroes of Wrestling. Wow, Dave.
Disagree.
My heart goes out to Dave.
Disagree.
Awesome.
It's the greatest match of all time.
That was awesome. That's the best match description Dave has ever given.
It's the greatest match of all time. How dare he disrespect it like that? I can't believe it.
Uncle Dave. Oh yeah, and we mentioned yesterday that Uncle Dave quote tweeted me. The other one where I was talking about where I got love. Will Ospreay put under one of my posts. He loves my work. So shout outs to Will. We're both fans of each other.
AEW shill. SP3 out here.
Let's go. I'm with it. Screw these egotistical pricks.
On the payroll. You're on the Tony Khan payroll. Can't believe you. You sold out. Didn't sell out to The Rock.
Where's my check, Dave? Where's my check? Where's my checks from Tony? Where's my checks from Dave? I need them. But you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Truehill SP3. I will be live on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel in less than an hour for our TNA Rebellion preview. We'll go more in depth, me and Crest the Star, giving our predictions, talking about the matches, what we're looking forward to, and give you all the information you need to talk about TNA Rebellion. You can also check out Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom preview I did with Scott E. Wrestling, the best when it comes to Joshi wrestling out there. He gave a lot of knowledge, a lot of information about that show as well. Check out AE Ramble with me and Jimmy Macaram from yesterday. Had a lot of fun just talking, just similar to what me and Jeremy did for an hour and a half, where we just laughed and joke about Rock and Triple H. It's so good. And Jimmy actually liked AEW Dynamite a lot more than he hated the Young Bucks versus Speedball and Kevin Knight, but otherwise he enjoyed Dynamite. So always a good time over there on True Hill Heat, and I'll be back here, Fightful Overbook. I don't know when. I didn't know I was gonna do today's show. I still got like one more thing to write, so I'm gonna finish that. But thank you for having me today, Jeremy. Always appreciate doing these shows with you.
Appreciate you filling in so much over the past 2 weeks. Maybe Joel won't run from the grind next week. We shall see. But I appreciate you, SP3. Thank you as always. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sending your super chats. Thanks for leaving a thumbs up on the video. Thanks for subscribing. Leave us a good review on iTunes, Spotify, however you listen to your podcast. We'll be back on Monday. But before we leave, Joel is not here, but his whiteness will never leave us. Bye, everybody.